Welcome to Wednesday Prize new series Look Up, which is our Superman in review, guys. This is my first time ever watching any of the original Superman movies. I've seen Man of Steel once. I've seen Batman vs. Batman one time, not since in theaters. I don't remember anything about those. But guys, my name is Kyle. Thanks for checking out the channel. I know I haven't been posting on the channel in a while, so I figured I'd drop something in here for you guys leading up to the new James Gunn Superman movie. So what I'm going to do, guys, is review every live-action Superman. Most of them I'm seeing for the first time. So we're starting with the 1978 film here, guys, and we are going to be leading all the way up to the new Superman. So, guys, just to recap, Superman 1, 2, 3, Superman 4, The Quest for Peace, Superman Returns, Man of Steel, Batman vs. Superman, and then the 2025 Superman. James Gunn debut Superman, which I don't know how I'm going to feel about it, guys. I'm not the biggest Superman fan. I just got this brand new shirt. I didn't have a Superman shirt, but, guys, Superman has always been kind of a boring character to me, in my opinion, but I haven't seen these movies, and so this is kind of an origin and introduction for me. I don't know pretty much anything about Superman other than everyone knows kryptonite is his biggest weakness. He's got laser eyes. He's super strong. He's super fast. Like, everyone complains he's got too many powers. I think he's got too many powers too, but I don't really know anything about Christopher Reeve, so guys, this is kind of my introduction into that. So what I'm going to do, guys, for this series is give my thoughts on the film. I'm going to give a favorite character, a score out of 10, and then we will rank these as we go. So I appreciate you guys. Let's fly. I say, in a lot of ways, there's a lot of different pieces of both future and past movies in this film, and some of the parts of this movie feel very old, and some of this parts of this movie feel like they stand a test of time. I gotta say, the chemistry off the bat between a lot of these actors, amazing. First of all, the credits are 25 minutes long. Like, they're so long. I couldn't believe it. The credits start, the theme, John Williams' theme, absolutely incredible, dude. Love John Williams, love Star Wars. It's so funny that this came out a year after A New Hope, because a lot of ways this feels like almost a more boring version of A New Hope, and like it's almost like they saw the success of A New Hope, and obviously with New Hope coming out just a year before, they didn't really know how that was going to do. And it's so crazy to think back in a time in 1978 where I wasn't born until 91, right? So I was far away from being on this earth. But it's crazy to think like this was a world where people didn't know what Star Wars was, or Star Wars was brand new. It wasn't this big thing that it is today. And they had to introduce Superman. And Superman, obviously, from the comics, I think in the 1930s or 1938, I think is the debut of Superman. I don't read comics, so I don't know. But this is like, hey, we need to introduce you to Superman, to this character, or give you more information. So, as someone who doesn't know anything, I know Krypton is like his home planet, and that's about it. I don't know how it was destroyed. I don't know his dad's name, who Zod is. Like, these are names I've heard from before, but I don't really know anything about Superman. So it's so cool to see this movie and to see them start off. And I was like, Marlon Brando is in this movie, and I didn't even recognize him, dude, because I'm thinking Godfather Marlon Brando, right? And it's not Godfather Marlon Brando. It's like a skinnier version of him. But man, he's really good. He's really good. I know he's been like notoriously hard to work with and all those things and difficult, but he's a great actor, and it was nice to get some star power in here. But starting off, guys, with this like creepy, like dark scene where these three guys, I guess I was confused. I had to Google. They got banished to the Phantom Zone, but it's like really cool cinematography, and I was like, oh, this is dark. This doesn't feel like Superman movie. Like, it's not corny. It's not like bright and colorful. Like, it's dark and it's super sci-fi. And obviously they have like the space outfits, and it's like, it looks so ridiculous. We're like, all right, we didn't quite understand like what space was, but it's like deep sci-fi, and it's cool. And again, as someone who doesn't know anything, like, I think the acting was really good, and a lot of close-ups on the face. But it's so funny because in some of these older movies where the effects aren't as prevalent, it's like you really got to bring the acting. And obviously some stuff doesn't hold up as well. I mean, the train scene, dude, like when he's running by the train, I was like, this looks laughably bad. Like, this is so bad. But it's like a fun, like, oh, look how, that shows how fast he is. But I'm like, no one else is looking on the train, that there's a man. You know, the little girl sees it, but all these people are on their papers. It's like, they didn't even have phones, dude. It's not like today where everyone's looking at their phone. Like, all these people are just on the train, and they don't notice that a man is sprinting as fast as a train next to them. That seemed a little weird to me. But, you know, it's a fun scene. It cuts to him. His legs are all like weird looking, but again, it was 1978, so you can't blame them for like the effects not looking good. But the chemistry between Lois and Clark, or Superman, I should say, or Lois and Clark and Superman, amazing. And now, obviously, the big thing, guys, is that like, oh, especially when he flies her around the thing, dude, And then he goes back to her apartment, which is like an beautiful open balcony. Like, how much is that rent, Lois Lane? He goes around, he knocks on doors, Clark, and he's like, "Hey, remember we had a date, Lois?" And she like, she goes into like the bedroom to change or whatever, and then he literally takes off his glasses and stands up straight and looks at her, and she just like doesn't even notice because she's obviously in her own world. She's like in love with Superman and all this stuff, but she would have been like, hold on, dude, you're Superman. She would be like, you're so obviously Superman. So again, it's like it reminded me of Spider-Man, and Lois was giving big Mary Jane vibes, except I think this Lois Lane was a little more. Well, actually, it reminded me of the Raimi Spider-Man, and I'm sure that Sam Raimi took a lot of inspiration from Superman in some way because, again, remember this is way before. This was not 2001 or 2002 when Spider-Man came out. Like, there's a lot of stuff that Spider-Man does or it seems like they got from this film because like this is like the Mary Jane character, but Lois Lane is like a go-getter. She's her own character. She's strong. She's smart. Like she's gorgeous. It's great. She's also like uncharacteristic, or I guess maybe characteristic, like, super horny, dude. I'm like, whoa, 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 whoa. She's like, hey, what color underwear am I wearing? I'm like, this feels out of pocket. But again, it was 1978, guys. Times were different. But he's like, I can't see it. He's like, this must be lead, and that's how we like find out he can't see through lead, which is like such a random, like I guess, lack of power. And then he's like, pink. And then she's like, oh, do you like pink? And I was like, well, I'm like, should I leave? Like, guys, am I in the middle of something? Am I interrupting? But, she's so into Superman. And then literally sees Clark right after. And then it's just like, he takes his glasses off. And I was like, oh, he's got the glasses on. He takes them off, right? And he's like, Lois, I have to tell you something. And I was like, oh, she's going to come out and then he's going to put the glasses back on. But he keeps the glasses off. And she's just so in her zone that she doesn't look up at him. But you think that she would be like, bro, I know it's you. But what I was saying, guys, is that Spider-Man works because, when Tobey is in the mask with Mary Jane, like it's a mask, right? So she has no idea that Spider-Man is Tobey Maguire. But in this, it's like, bro, you just had glasses on and your hair does that little curl. But it's like now you're just here and like Superman flew away 4 seconds ago and now you're at my door. Like, how convenient timing. So there's little things like that, but their chemistry I thought was great. I thought Christopher Reeve was incredible as Clark and as Superman, and they really did feel like two different characters. It was amazing stuff. It reminded me of James McAvoy in Split, where he's playing all these different characters, and it's like, dude, how is this one actor acting so different? And like this is a lesser version of that, but it's really, really cool. And again, like this is the early superhero stages, and I think it kind of laid the foundation for a lot of stuff that we see in later films. And so it's interesting watching this in 2025 when I've like seen these other movies where I'm like, oh, this reminds me of this movie, but actually that movie probably got it from this movie. And so this was like, again, the origin of that. But yeah, the Krypton stuff I thought was cool, really dark. I thought the cinematography when the dome opens up is really awesome. It reminded me of like 2001: A Space Odyssey. And then when Krypton is exploding, dude, and everyone's dying, it was weird to me that they didn't have like escape ships, but then they had that one little escape ship for this baby that was just like, this baby's just chilling straight up. And he's like, hey, and he gives him that green crystal, which I guess is kind of like how he creates the Fortress of Solitude. But at the time I was like, is that kryptonite? Like, are you giving him kryptonite? But it's nice because Marlon Brando is just as Jor-El, I think his name is or whatever, but he was really good. And, they banish these three people into the Phantom Zone. I wish that was explained a little bit better, like just like the line to the Phantom Zone, because it's like Crystal came in and then they like were sucked into it. It's a cool effect, kind of. But I was like, what just happened? I don't understand. And it was Zod and some chick and then some other guy. I don't know enough about Superman to know that, but that was cool. And then Krypton just exploding for like 25 minutes. I was like, dude, but it's dark. It's like people falling out and it explodes and then it cuts, very Star Wars, where it cuts and it's quiet for a second, then it explodes like the Death Star. And I was like, oh yeah, there's a lot of like Star Wars isms in here and they use miniatures and all that stuff. But yeah, Christopher Reeves and Lois Lane I thought were great. I thought the flying sometimes looked super corny. I thought most of the time actually looked really corny, but again, that's like 1978. Like it's a product of its time where we didn't have the technology to make him look good. So I thought that was okay. But Lex Luthor I was really into. Why is he with what seems to be like a mistress of some sort, or just a girl, like a hot assistant that he keeps around? And then some dude that's just like super like Three Stooges ask where he's like, oh, boss, I'll do it for you, boss. And I'm like, what's going on? But it was goofy. And like, again, there's just like some sexual overtones in here where it's just like, everyone is like into Superman. When what's her name? He's in the pool. He's drowning with the kryptonite bling, right? And then he's like, please, I'll save your mother first. And she's like, okay, but only if you promise. He's like, I never lie, don't worry. And then she saves him, but then she kisses him first. And he's like, why did you kiss me first? And I'm like, but dude, that's sexual harassment right there. And she's like, well, I didn't think you would want to kiss me after. And then he like just kind of stares. They have like a moment. And I'm like, bro, go back to Lois. Like, what are we doing here? But he flies away, breaks a hole in their ceiling again. And I'm like, who's paying for that, Superman? Not you, not Clark Kent, I bet. But their chemistry was great. Lex Luthor thought it was really good. Gene Hackman, I think. And I just always think of the South Park where it's like, you can't stop me, Hackman. And Christopher Reeve, like, you know, eating all the baby fetuses in South Park. So it's funny to watch this movie after seeing all that stuff and everything like that. But again, Christopher Reeve, I only knew from like the guy in the wheelchair, and I didn't know anything about him or the accident. I think it's a horse riding accident or something. But I always knew he played Superman, but that's kind of all I knew. I didn't know anything. I don't know anything about Superman. So this is a cool origin story, and I think they did a good job with it. And yeah, I think there's not a lot of action here. They're talking about how Lex wants to like blow up California so he can like create his own Lex line, and then he's like Otisburg. He's like erase that. He's like, oh, okay, boss, I'll erase it for you. And I'm like, okay, it's a little weird. But then he's sending 2 nukes out, one to California, and then I think one to New Jersey, where that woman's mom lives. And so she's like, save my mother first. And he's like, all right, dude, whatever. Like, I'm just get me out of here. But he goes to the one in the East Coast first and like redirects it. It's a cool scene, very much like Tony Stark putting the missile through the space portal in Avengers. Guys, we don't have to talk about it. Go watch Reviewers Assembled. I thought Lex was cool. I thought his subway pool was really cool and really weird, but I thought that looked pretty interesting. But I thought the performance was great. And I just think the actors did a really good job of carrying this movie where not really a lot happens. But the one on the West Coast hits. And I was like, oh, and it causes an earthquake. And I'm like, oh, people are for sure dying. And then I was kind of into it. And I was into it. I enjoyed my time with this film. But then it's going on too long. It's 2 hours and 25 minutes. And boy, sometimes you feel a runtime on this. And things go on way too long. I mean, there's that weird scene where was it just a random woman? I think it was. Was it the same lady who saved Superman? That's like the blonde woman that's just like out, and then the army guys are here, because then Lex shows up pretending to be like an EMT, and then he's like, well, men, I would suggest trying to revive via the chest, and that doesn't work mouth to mouth, and he's like, okay, I'll do it, sir. And he's like, actually, I'll do it. I wouldn't actually do anything I wouldn't do. And I was like, okay, guys, like let's turn down the horniness a little bit in this movie. And then he's like, about face, and they'll turn around, and I'm like, so the parts of this movie are super goofy. And then you have really good stuff with Superman, but he doesn't really fight anyone. There's not really any real consequences. I mean, he does stop a couple of like nukes basically, but actually one nuke and then the other one hits, so that caused the earthquake. And then Lois is like the only one in the area, and when there's no one around at first, I was like, oh, maybe Superman was so fast that he went through and like evacuated everyone. So like then the bomb hits or the missile hits and then it's fine. But it wasn't like that. It was just like it hits and then like everyone starts like panicking stuff, and then Lois I think dies. He's trying to get to Lois in time, and I'm like, bro, how fast are you that in 1 second you can be there instantly, and in another second you can't get to Lois, who's like 100 miles, not even 100 miles probably away. It's like, so that was weird. He doesn't get there in time, and he's like, no, and then he spins around the earth so fast that he rewinds time, and it's like, it's kind of dumb. It's like, okay, that doesn't really make sense. It feels like a cop out, but all in all, guys, I had a good time with this film. I think at times it feels very old, and it definitely is way too long. And it's crazy how certain movies like this movie came out a year after A New Hope, and I love Star Wars, guys. I think A New Hope looks amazing even today, and obviously they've like up-resed it, and I have the 4K, and it looks great. But the original version of New Hope, I think looks amazing. And I think parts of this movie, I was like, ooh, this feels like a 1978 movie, but it's like, how was this released a year after A New Hope? And it looks so much worse in some areas, but different types of movies, different budgets. I think the budget was only like 50 mil back then, and it made a ton of money at the box office. So it was a huge hit, but as a first Superman movie, I had a good time with it. I was definitely a little bored at some points, but I think you got to look at these movies at a sign of the time. And I just think it was a pretty solid effort for a first one, and I think the actors' performances and the chemistry for different groups really carried the film. Guys, my favorite character, it's the man himself, dude. Christopher Reeve, so good. I mean, the ability, like I said, to play Clark Kent, and also to play Superman is crazy. It's crazy to me that he can switch so effortlessly between both, and I would have liked us to see a little bit more of that. You know, we don't get a phone booth changing scene, but we do get him changing the revolving door, which is really cool. But then one time he just jumps out of like a window or whatever. He's at work and everyone's paying attention or whatever. Then he jumps out and then he just switches to a suit. And I was like, how does that work? Did you switch so quickly that it looks like it just like nanoteched onto you? I don't know, but you know, it's kind of a messy movie. The dad or whatever, the people that watch over him, he just like has a heart attack one day and like dies. And I was like, okay, that's kind of weird. They were really old when they took care of him, and I guess they've been trying to have a kid for a while. And they're like, oh, we finally got our kid. And I was like, you just took a baby out of a meteorite, dude. And it's a fictional story, but it was kind of weird that they send him off and they're like, well, he's not a human being. He's like, no, he'll never be one of them. But he's like, but they do have gravity, and he does enjoy gravity. And I was like, all right, it was a little too much, but again, I think it was cool that they started with Krypton. But guys, I'm kind of talking about the movie, not about Christopher Reeve. Christopher Reeve, like as much as Robert Downey Jr. was immediately Tony Stark, as much as Chris Evans was immediately Captain America, as much as these other characters just immediately fit into their roles, Christopher Reeve, when he puts on that Superman outfit, and really as Clark Kent, I was like, dude, that's Superman. Like, and I know I love Henry Cavill, and I can't wait to get to Man of Steel. I've only seen it, I think, once. I haven't seen it in a long time. I can't wait to get to it, and I'm excited to see these later movies and see better effects. And I know Man of Steel, like people say, it's not a good movie, but the effects are amazing, and so I can't wait till we get to that. And I love Henry Cavill as Superman too, but again, I haven't seen it in a long time. But man, it's hard to not be like, that's Superman when you see Christopher Reeve in that suit, and the suit is so clean, and that's why I'm a little excited for James Gunn's Superman too, because they're kind of going back to that like bright blue, like colorful, fun movie. Now, I don't know how I feel about the movie being a good movie, but when we get there, guys, we'll review it. We'll see. I'm going in with an open mind. I think I'll have a better appreciation for Superman once I finish these other 7 or 8 films, whatever it is, before we get there. But anyway, Christopher Reeve, amazing. I thought his chemistry with Lois was great. I thought they were both great. And I think Christopher Reeve just really delivers a great performance as young Superman, or young Kal-El, is that his name, or Cal? I don't know. It doesn't matter, guys. Don't come at me, super hard Superman fans, because I don't know my Superman stuff. But yeah, I think he was great, and I just thought he was the best part of this movie for sure. So guys, the score for this one, I'm gonna say it's a 7-2. I don't really want to put it higher than that because there are boring parts of this movie. There are like kind of slapstick comedy things of this movie, and I did enjoy them. But I was checking my phone a little bit, and it's way too long. And again, it's a 1978 movie, but New Hope was a 1977 movie. So it's like we can have well-paced movies now. Obviously, different things, but John Williams' score goes so hard. That theme is so amazing. It's awesome. And man, John Williams just like the man just created like all of the most iconic themes. Like talk about a Hall of Fame career. I know he's a legendary, but like between Star Wars and I think he did Indiana Jones too, and this, it's just like, dude, this man has no. He's unstoppable, dude. He's incredible. But the theme adds so much. The scenes where like he saves Lois in the helicopter, and they're like, oh my god, they got her. And the theme kicks in. He brings the helicopter up. I think that was awesome. So some stuff like the train scene, and then like the stuff on the farm I didn't really care about, and then just some weird dialogue. Lex Luthor I think was enjoyable, but like he's like intercepting the U.S. I guess they're not nukes. They might just be missiles, but they had to like change the codes, and I feel like we could have used a little bit more explanation on like why they're doing that. And it's very like almost like Adam West Batman, kind of like, hey, we're not taking this seriously. Yeah, we're gonna pretend to be a broad on the street, or we're gonna send this girl over on the street, and all the army's gonna be there, and they can just sneak into the back of the truck and change the codes. And oh, I forgot there was 4 codes. I went back and it's just like it's a little goofy, and it's like Superman doesn't have to be super dark and brooding, but as a first take on the character, and Christopher Reeve just sliding in to that suit, and just like he feels like the Man of Steel, he feels like Superman, and so I think it nailed that. And it was enjoyable enough, and it really did get me excited to watch the rest of these films too. So I think, while not the best movie I've ever seen by a large stretch, not a terrible movie, and I definitely enjoyed some background, some lore, and just the idea of Superman and what that means. Guys, we will have rankings in the future episodes, but obviously with this being the first one, it goes at number 1 by default. So guys, next week when we do Superman 2, we will have an actual rankings. We'll see if that's better. Now, again, I don't know anything about these original films, so I don't know which ones are good, which ones are bad. I think people love Superman 2, but as someone who's going in as a first-time watcher, I'm going in completely open-minded, completely trying to be optimistic, but also just taking these movies for what they are. And so I'm excited to see like what the rest of them look like. And so we'll keep going through Superman review next time, guys. But thanks for checking out the pilot episode of Look Up. This is our surprise Superman in review, guys, with our fresh Superman shirt. I've been Kyle, your host. Thanks for checking out Project Potter. I know there hasn't been a lot of content lately, guys, but I promise you there is going to be a lot of it coming, and there's going to be a reveal on what exactly is coming in the future. So, guys, just bear with me. But in the meantime, hope you enjoy this Superman content, and hope you guys are excited for the new movie. But let me know what you think of the original 1978 film, and then we will have more and more as we go. So appreciate you guys. If you guys did enjoy it, please consider liking, commenting, and most importantly, subscribing. Until next time, guys. Look up.